Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, this is Greg, founder of WrestlingDivas.webs.com, dedicated to highlighting the most beautiful and deadly entertainers in the professional wrestling industry. Thanks for everyone for tuning in to blogtalkradio.com. I am very excited to be using Blog Talk Radio again to conduct an exclusive interview with my next special guest. She is a model and professional wrestler. Fans may remember her as Tsunami from the wrestling organization Crush, Lotus from the professional wrestling organization Women of Wrestling, abbreviated WOW, and she recently resurfaced as Viper, one-third of Jimmy's Angels, in the female wrestling organization Wreslicious, which is hosted by Jimmy Hart. So I would like to welcome my guest, Jeannie Kim. Hi, Jean. You're on the air right now. How are you?
Hi, everyone.
So let's get right to it. You first started out as a model, and you auditioned for WOW, Women of Wrestling, which was an all-female wrestling organization based in California. Can you please tell me what inspired you to audition for that show and what was your feelings and anticipations going into it?
I was really excited to be part of it. First and foremost, when I was, 10, 11, 12 years old, my girlfriends and I were like tomboyish, like pretty girls, tomboyish girls that would gather on the weekends and watch Glow on TV. And we loved watching Glow, and we used to mimic Glow, like the wrestling moves that the girls did and whatnot. And it's so funny, I used to watch that in my living room with my girlfriends. And, like a decade later, there's a casting. I'm like, oh, my God, this is perfect. This is fun, and I auditioned for it. I heard that there was over 1,100 girls that submitted, and a few hundred got called in for an interview, and then a couple hundred, it got narrowed down. They had to do some obstacle courses. And after that, 60 of us got picked for kind of like boot camp, okay? And then, we had formal training for the whole summer, and out of the 60, I believe 35 of us got a contract. And out of 35, I think 33 actually made it on TV. So I went through a lot, and I later on found out that I was one of the first female Korean-American professional wrestler that made it pro in the United States, like on TV and whatnot. So I'm very proud of that I'm part of history. I'm one of the pioneers. So it is like an honor for me to be part of that.
So you said that you went through a lot of formal training and you went through a lot of casting calls, and you had no wrestling experience prior to being involved with WOW. So what was it like through the training aspect of becoming a professional wrestler? Was it more difficult than you thought it was going to be, or less? Or
honestly,
what were your feelings?
No. I meshed right in because, I was a tomboy. I grew up with two brothers. I was very feisty. I used to get into fights all the time with girls and guys growing up. My brothers would roughen me up. So I was a tomboy growing up. So doing that was it wasn't anything foreign to me. It was very natural to me. Just because I was a model doesn't mean I was some, frail, eye candy. I was a tough chick, way before growing up as a child. So doing that was just fun.
So as stated by you, you were one of the first female, I would say Asian Americans to ever make it big on TV. So what would you say to others who want to make it big in the industry and want to kind of make a name for themselves and innovate the industry in a way that it hasn't been?
Definitely, I would, go out of your way. Being in the entertainment industry is a lot of luck and dedication. okay, and you're just waiting for the right moment, you're going to get rejected left and right. So if you're afraid of rejection and, you have thin skin, good luck. You need to persevere. And you can't just focus on one thing. Like I did promotional work. I did print work. I did modeling. I pursued acting. I didn't just, narrow it down to one. It's fast or female, and I was just blessed that, I was in that industry for my 20s, for a decade. That was my bread and butter. A lot of people, have normal jobs and do that to supplement. I was really lucky that I was a hustler, that I really got to dedicate myself, for a decade in that industry.
So you were a model before you came into the wrestling industry, and especially nowadays, a lot of people have this negative point of view on models who get involved in the wrestling industry because they feel that models who become wrestlers don't have the passion for wrestling. So being at the point where you are now, what do you have to say to such negative reception?
Well, first and foremost, I was not a model before wrestling. I wouldn't say my primary focus to pursue Hollywood was specifically modeling. I had a normal job prior to that. If anything, I had a late start. I gave up my professional life and wanted to pursue my childhood love of entertainment industry, not specifically just wrestling, specifically just modeling, but the entertainment industry as a whole. And when, back then, there was not many Asian roles, okay, and there still isn't. So when I dwelled into the entertainment industry, I just got thrusted in the modeling scene because there's no roles out there. So whatever that came my way, I embraced and pursued. So it's not like if I went out of my way and gave up everything just to pursue modeling. No, it just happened that I got a lot of modeling opportunities. So, and again, all this happened all within like a 1-2 year period. So it's not like if I was this professional model that happened to do wrestling. No, I got into the entertainment industry full force, and I embraced whatever came my path. So, no, I wouldn't call myself a quote-unquote model, and that was not my passion, just modeling. It just ended up happening. I just got a lot of modeling gigs along the way. That's what paid my bills. But, no, modeling was not my passion. The entertainment industry as a whole was. Wrestling was a little unique niche. I felt it was perfect timing, especially being an Asian American and female on top of that. There's no roles out there, and I embraced this. And I just thought it was very ironic growing up, watching them on TV with my childhood friends, mimicking the moves. I just thought, like, wow, how things manifested and turned out the way, it ended up.
Now, you just said, especially in wrestling, that there aren't many roles for Asian American competitors, not just female, but male as well. So was it ever difficult for you to kind of continue trying to make an impact before you made an impact? Because wrestling takes a long time to make a big name for yourself, especially
yes
especially if you're out of the country.
Well, yes and no. In fact, being Asian and female in the entertainment industry, especially wrestling, yeah, that's tough as, the niche is even smaller. So that's tough just to get your foot in the door. But because I was female and Asian and, in the wrestling scene, it was also like a unique opportunity. So yes and no, it was an advantage and also a disadvantage. Overall, it worked out.
I talked to Amber O'Neill, who was a Shimmer competitor earlier, and she said a lot of interesting things about the backstage scene that a lot of the fans don't understand. So how do you stay grounded during all that backstage animosity and all of the kind of, I don't want to necessarily say backstabbing, but all of the kind of troubles that happen in the backstage aspect of professional wrestling?
Right. Yeah. Do you know what wrestling is? It's just like any other, like it could be like a school environment or work environment. Just watch reality TV. If you get a group of human beings, okay, our human behaviors are going to come out. So it's not limited just to the backstage of wrestling. Wherever dynamics there is where there's a group of people, something's about to happen because there's always going to be a conflict of interest, okay? And politics always play a part. There was a lot of drama in wrestling, and there will always be, no matter what TV show or work environment or even class in school there is, it's always going to be politics at play. But the real focus is you can fight that current, okay? You can just be the best that you can, and hopefully the audience will embrace you and love you, and you can change things. For instance, like, it was a struggle for me being with WoW. I hated the fact that, I don't mean to put WoW down, but, the cheesy lines that they gave us and whatnot, but it was a role that I played, and I played it very well. Did I really like my role? Initially, I created that role. Initially, I was supposed to be Dragonfly, a heel, and I didn't want to be a heel at the time because at that time I was in a very calm, very spiritual Zen stage in my life, and I wanted to represent that. Looking back, I felt like, I should just stay the heel, then I would have won more matches and whatnot. But regardless, I embraced whatever came that way, all the negativity, here and there, drama, whatever. That's part of life. I embraced it. It was kind of frustrating, I do admit, the role that the Asian, stereotypical role that I played. It was frustrating. We were displayed as, weak and meek, and there was supposed to be like a turnaround point to it, but the show never made it for us to start winning. In the beginning, we're like going on a losing streak. There was a storyline to this, if you paid attention to the storyline, but it was supposed to turn around, but it never made it to that point. So, I got really frustrated because I'm not that meek, weak chick. I'm like a firecracker. Like, if you saw me on the street, like, I'm like a little bulldog. I'm a total tomboy, and it was a completely different role that I was playing. And I know in my head that's a role that I was playing, but just as far as, like, representing the Asian, population out there, I felt like I wasn't representing quite the way how I wanted to. I wanted to be more empowering, but again, that was going to be added later on down the storyline, which obviously it never ended up, because the show got canceled. So, I was frustrated. There was a lot of backstage, like, how come they're getting promoted? How come they're doing promotion and this and this and that? I was just frustrated and happy at the same time.
So, going to what fans see in front of the camera, every time that I interview a female in the industry, it is, according to them, it is the hardest thing in the world to kind of be innovative in front of the camera and try to break out from the pack and create your own move and be your own character, because there are a lot of copying in this industry. There are a lot of people that claim that their move was stolen, that their gimmick was stolen. So how do you be original in front of the camera? How do you stand out from the crowd?
Honestly, especially with women of wrestling and just, the other federations, because I hate to say this. Everyone's going to go boo once I say, well, it's choreographed. You know the outcome. So to me, it was more like I was a stunt performer, okay, on stage performing a role. None of the girls on WoW or the other ones, we didn't make up our own moves. It was given to us. We were given a role and moves to play and perform. So it's not like, we were one of those independent wrestlers and we had our own moves and we can do whatever we want and whatnot. No, it was all controlled. I wanted to do more stuff, but I was discouraged too. And that pissed me off. I mean, that was frustrating. But, again, I'm not the owner of the federation. So if I was, maybe it would be different.